Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Dardenne Prairie in session, October 8th, 2025. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice. All right, Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lamb, Commissioner Molenkamp, Commissioner Musler, Commissioner Neski, Commissioner Northcutt, Commissioner Pollard, Commissioner Stankovich, and Alderman Carla Detweiler.
All right, we've got a quorum, so we can move forward. The first item on the agenda is public comment, and this is for items that are not on the agenda. And if you would like to speak, I'm going to assume that you've already given the speaker's form to Matt or to Kathy. There is a 3-minute time limit. So do we have anybody for public comment?
I don't think so. I believe Mr. Burke is here about the moratorium hearing. Is that correct? Okay. No.
No, we don't have any. Okay. All right, so let's start the evening off with the public hearings. And the first public hearing will be the multifamily moratorium on future multifamily development standards. Need a motion to open the public hearing? Need a second? Second. It's been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the motion carries. Before we start this, because most of this part of the public hearing will be to hear from the people in the audience that are interested in this particular issue. But let me explain that, one, it's not necessarily to take a position as a commission or maybe even the Board of Aldermen at this point to, not have any more multifamily dwellings or to increase it. All right, it's an attempt to take a look at our code, the public opinion, the impact of multifamily on the community, both from the schools, the infrastructure, crime, traffic, and so forth. So it's a multifaceted look. We don't have any predisposed opinions, but it's an attempt to be transparent about what we're doing, because in the end, we may very well have to make some changes to the zoning code, tighten things up if need be, and kind of see where we want to be as a community. So I just want to throw that out there. So what comments do we have?
Cheryl Bratton.
My name is Cheryl Bratton. My husband Larry and I live on Cruden Bay Court in Inverness subdivision. When I saw there was a public hearing regarding the multifamily housing moratorium this evening, I honestly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I can only assume the moratorium was initiated in response to the long-lasting disgust related to the Prairie Encore and more recently, the proposed, albeit tabled, development on and in front of Wyndham Meadows. In fact, every talking point on tonight's public hearing notice was made and has continued to be made since December 2021. And guess what? The Planning and Zoning Commission sided with the residents. The board, as we know, did not. We spoke about traffic and were told there were traffic studies, but for some reason, the studies weren't made available to the public. We questioned the height of the building. We questioned the Encore's lack of parking. We questioned how light and noise would be monitored. We brought up concerns regarding school class sizes. We presented information as to how high-density housing equals the need for more police presence and first responders. We questioned the impact on surrounding homes and were told the pitiful tree line between the Encore property and Inverness Phase 3 was adequate. We presented information on the plummeting worldwide birth rate. In the space of another generation, there won't be enough people to fill these apartments, and we begged the city not to be so short-sighted in its approach. And just as importantly, we were furious over the $68 million worth of incentives awarded to the developer. There's no need for public hearings on topics like this. The city has 2 rule books. The ordinances and the comprehensive plan already govern and guide every point listed on tonight's public hearing notice. The problem is the allowance of PUD designations, which in my experience are used as nothing more than mechanisms for circumventing the ordinances. In fact, 405175 says all multifamily housing must abut or be adjacent to federally funded interstate highway. I assure you, Bryan Road is not a federally funded interstate highway. Multifamily must have 2 designated parking spaces. The Encore doesn't. Buildings in Garden Prairie aren't allowed to be over 3 stories. Prairie Encore is 4. It's all in the city's rule books. But when it came to the Encore, the board simply ignored the established rules, and everyone knows developers want apartments because in the long term, multifamily is more profitable for them than single family. Thank you for being a group of thoughtful people who now know how to properly apply the rules. This part of my speech goes to all the people who are sitting behind me. It's up to the residents, especially those in Ward 3, to vote for aldermen in the next election who have a track record for proving that once the rules are, that the P&Z asks the rules be applied, that the aldermen know that they should do that. Thank you.
Paul Burke. I believe that's it for the moratorium.
Questions about the moratorium or comments? I'm shocked. Okay. Commission members, anybody have any comments you'd like to make at this point? Okay. Kathy, did you want to discuss the questionnaire at this point?
Not during the public hearing, but under the old business.
All right. Then I need a motion to close the public hearing. Second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, the next item is the public hearing on the Stillwater Grove CUP site plan preliminary plat and rezoning request from R1A to R1D CUP to allow single-family attached dwellings. Need a motion to open the public hearing? Moved by Commissioner Northcutt. Need a second? And seconded by Commissioner Molenkamp. All in favor? Opposed? All righty. We'll need the applicant to come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. For the record, my name is Mike Faulkner. I'm Vice President of Sterling Engineering. Offices at 5055 New Baumgardner in St. Louis, 63129. Also here with me tonight is the developer, builder, and the architect. So hopefully between all 3 of us, hopefully we can answer all the questions that maybe arise after the presentation. Now, Mr. Chairman, I'm on the web, but I notice got to try and figure out how I can get up on your screens. Yeah, I've actually got some exhibits. I got a flash drive. I was just told that I needed to bring a laptop. The one? Great, thank you so much. Uh, oh, yeah, if you can leave that one on there. So the first is just an air photo of the site. To the south is the uh, Providence subdivision. To the north is 364, and to the west is Bates Road, and then to the east is the Twin Chimneys Elementary School. And if you go to the next slide, one more down, please. Whoop, one more. This is a copy of the zoning map, and as you can see, uh, to the south of us, the Providence subdivision is R1D PUD. To across the way, Bates Road is the Covent Dardine, which is also an R1D PUD. And just to the south of us is a single family residence, which is zoned exactly the same as ours, which is the R1A. And we're here asking for a rezoning for this property to be R1D, along with a CUP to allow us for the attached single family. Now, if you could go to the next slide, please. Yep, there we go. This is just a rendering of the site. Some of the things that when we met a couple of times with the city, we did used to have a little eyebrow in as you first come in. And the reason that we changed this site was due to the fact of trying to get ourselves to be able to be in compliance as much as possible with the tree ordinance. So by eliminating that, it allowed us to pull back away from that intersection, which allowed us to maintain more of the existing tree mass that's there. And as you can see, we've got some of the landscaping shown on here. As the chairman had said early on, we've got 14 buildings, which will have 28 units. They're duplex units. They all will meet the R1D zoning classification. They're all 45-foot wide lots. They'll all be individual lots, for sale lots. 45-foot wide, 5,400 square foot, which is the minimum, will be our minimum. There's a lot of these lots that will actually be above that. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and also we'll have a 26-foot wide street with 50-foot right of way and sidewalks on both sides of the street. One of the things that we, in some of our meetings with staff and with some of the members, was discussed was looking at our site. It sits higher than Providence. So the concern was of those homes having two-story homes there, that was a concern of a lot of the residents that some of the members had received. So what we did is we agreed to put all of the homes that back up to the Providence subdivision will all now be ranch only model. So to try and help mitigate that concern of having a large home overlooking their homes in the Providence that back up to us. So we're going to restrict all of those homes on the southern board boundary area to be ranch models. Some of the other things that we did was we heard was stormwater was a concern. Stormwater was a big concern, especially the draw that runs is basically to the north of us. The state highway has a detention basin, and that detention basin drains into this site, which drains through us and to the south, to that single family resident. That was a concern. So what we looked at was what can we do to help? And so what we did was we looked at our detention basin that was going to be in this location here. First, we're going to let that water, we're going to pipe that. It's going to be a bypass for the state right away. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to over detain to try and help mitigate some of the concerns of the drainage problems that are experiencing to the south. So I wanted to point that out. And also on the eastern side, you can see in that little lighter green area, that is another detention basin to be installed over there because there is a small watershed and we want to be able to catch that, especially after what we heard of the concerns of the stormwater problem. Sanitary sewers will be, there's an existing sanitary sewer that's just right at about our southern line. We'll be connecting into there and servicing the site off of that. And you can see some of the trees, and I apologize. I think there's one other exhibit. You'll have to come out of these. And I think it's the last one. I apologize. Okay, it's hard to see, but that's our landscape plan. And that will be being submitted to the city, to Kathy. What we've done, that will earmark exactly what we're doing, how many additional trees will be required to mitigate. What we'll be doing is this plan shows 190 trees. And of those trees, there'll be 36 flowering trees, 34 white oaks, 92 Norway spruce. And that's just those that are not within the street, or the street trees. And the street trees will have 14 white oaks, 7 red maples, and 7 sugar maples. So of all, there'll be 190. And the issue that we're running into is we tried to cram as many and use as much of the material as we could, and you can see on the site. But then there's an issue that I just can't plant them too close or then they'll die out. So we'll be looking to get work with Kathy as far as the mitigation, what the city will require for that mitigation. And also with me here tonight, I said, is mentioned earlier, is the developer builder and the architect. And then if you could go one other one, I've got just a little sample. In fact, we've got some packets that I'd like to hand out to each of the members, which will show this and the floor plan. And what this rendering is showing you, we're going to have where we'll have garages together, but we'll also want to break it up and have garages split. So you can see the lower one has garages split, so they're not attached to each other, and in the north we'll have them attached. All of the units will have full basements, and that was a concern early on when we first met with the city, was wanted to make sure that each of the homes had a basement. They'll all have 2-car garages. And if anybody else has any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer them, or the architect is here that can hopefully answer any questions and concerns you may have.
Okay. Dave, you have any questions?
Just real quick on the ranch, the houses to the south, those walkout basements.
They will all be walkout basements, yes. And that was also to help mitigate that being huge up on top of the hill that we had been informed was concerns of the residents in the Providence subdivision.
Are those on the south side or north side?
South side.
So in essence, you're raising the elevation. by having a walkout,
Yes.
which defeats the whole idea of not having a two-story.
Well, the issue is by having the walkout basement, it allows me to save as many of the trees along the common boundary line. Without that, if I had a regular rear yard, have an in-grade basement, I'd have a terrace there because of how high and the grade differential of the site. So we chose to go with walkout basements. It'd be easier and will be a lot easier for us to save as much of the existing vegetation along the southern boundary line.
Generally speaking, along that southern edge, what is the current elevation?
Oh, I'd have to get it, if you can hold on a second.
Because I couldn't tell that on your drawings here.
The elevation runs anywhere from 586 to a 590. And our backs of our units are going to be at 600. So about 10 feet.
Say that again.
The rear in the Providence subdivision is a 590. And our homes are going to be, our front of our units are going to be at 600.
So they're going to be 10 feet taller.
Yes. They'll be 10 foot tall. Yes. But by doing that, it allowed us to save a lot of the trees along that southern boundary line. If not, I would have had to do a terrace down to the property.
And I thought the whole idea was not to have an imposing structure on that south side. And you're raising the ground level up 10 feet with what you're telling me.
No, I'm not raising the ground level. Right now, there's a large grade differential from Providence up to our property line. And then it rises from there on up into our site. So we're not actually raising it. We're pushing our homes further away, trying to get them as far away as we can. But yet, by coming in here and grading it out as a walkout, I'm able to save a lot of the tree vegetation along that southern property. I believe, yes.
All right. Angela, do you have any questions? Mr. Musler?
It is. Correct. Yes. Yes. What is that line? That structure is actually shown incorrect. It's shown as a area inlet. It should be a manhole because that sewer line is going to be a bypass line. Correct. Should be a manhole, yes. There'll be a swale back there. And there will be sewers that will pick that up and divert it into the detention basin. Yes. Yes.
As well as.
Right.
So why aren't they shown?
No, I believe what happened was when we were getting these plans prepared and submitted in, that layer wasn't turned on. but the plans had already been submitted. But we'll be working with staff as far as, we'll want to have multiple inlets along, especially along the southern line, because we don't want to have long swales. Because if I have long swales, it's going to mean more grading, which means I'm jeopardizing the trees that I'm trying to save.
Yeah, I would.
Correct. 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 No, it'll be the same as the MSD, if you're familiar with the MSD stack basins, which is what we're proposing here, which will act as all three facets, be detention, volume reduction, and water quality. There is a little water, it's it's hard to see on this drawing, but there is actually, that is a watershed over there. And we wanted to have something that would pick that up, and then we can actually we'll have to put some, storm inlet back there to funnel that water over. That again is one that had fallen off of the drawing. But we will be working with staff and making sure when we get, if approved and we get into the design facet, we'll be working with staff as far as making sure that all the watersheds are taken care of and the drainage is properly handled.
Mr. Molenkamp. I've got several questions. The first sheet of your plan indicates that you got a 5,400 square foot lot. You can only cover 30% of it.
Correct.
So that leaves you 1,620 square feet. What's going to be the actual square footage of the house?
I would be meeting the,
I mean, the
1,400.
reason why I'm asking is that doesn't include the basement or the garage, but it includes the driveway, patios, and walkways.
Mhm.
So are you going to be within the 1,620 square feet?
Yes, okay, here again, at 5,400 square foot is the minimum lot size. A lot of these lots will exceed that 5,400 square foot.
Yeah, but there's plenty that don't, and if they do, it's only by, it looks like 60 or 83 feet and 21 square feet. I mean, there's not a lot of give there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. The next question I have is on page 2.1. You show a connection to an existing sanitary sewer main.
Yes,
The way that's drawn, that doesn't look like it's on your property.
there's easements there.
There is an easement there.
There is easements there, yes.
Okay. And then you answered my question, I think, about the elevation. I'm still trying to process that one. On page 4.1, going back to Mr. Musler's question about the common ground, that detention basin on the east side. It shows that it empties out into that far southeast corner. So where's that water going to run? Because it's going to run onto adjoining properties.
That once, here again, once we get approval, that will actually be tied into an existing storm sewer system within the Providence subdivision.
Which subdivision?
Providence to the south.
Did that happen? Van?
I am unsure right now. I think it could because it's already being filtered water through the water quality in the detention, so it'll be slowly released. Um, it'll do the full process, so I think it could happen. Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's some inlets down there. But then all you're doing is just pouring that water into an area that's got an incline like this coming down there. I mean, it seems to be problematic to me.
No, actually, we'll tie into the existing storm sewer. And again, with staff, we'll be working with staff as far as putting that underground into that system.
So you're gonna run it underground.
Yes. And tie it into the existing system.
All right. Well, we haven't had much chance to take a look at your renderings here yet, since they weren't included in our packets. Did you say the applicant is here?
He is.
Is he willing to speak?
It's Mr. Kyle Brown.
I'm sorry, what?
Mr. Kyle
Brown.
Brown.
How you doing?
Mr. Brown, how are you?
Great.
Question. It appears based upon your website and everything that you basically come in and just scrape it and then sell the lots off. Is that what you're going to do here?
No, that's just Blue Onyx on what we do there. So Blue Onyx is my development company. We also have a home building.
Speak up, will you?
Blue Onyx is just my development company. We have a home building company as well.
Oh, what's its name?
Brown Signature Homes.
Okay. And so you're going to build these yourself?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And you're building in Dardine Prairie?
Right.
Would you do me a favor? Go to your website, and since you are already predisposed that you're going to be getting approval on this and you have it on your website, at least show us as being Dardine Prairie and not O'Fallon.
Is that what it has? Yeah, I don't handle any of that, but I'll make sure that's done.
Doesn't create a lot of goodwill. All right, anybody else have any questions? All right, I guess the next item then will be to ask staff for any comments.
I don't have any. Do you want me to read the report?
No.
Thank.
All right, then we'll have public comment, 3 minutes. Please don't repeat if somebody else says something that you wanted to say. Huh? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
When we met with you a couple months ago, we talked about the entrance to the subdivision being on the outer road. And I remember you said that you could not get approval from MoDOT to do that entrance on there. Do you remember we had that discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
I would like to recommend that you try to talk to MoDOT again. And if you feel the need for help to talk to MoDOT, I would like Matt to help you with that. We've got these extra, presuming this gets approved, we've got these extra people going right out there on the road, Bates Road, right before the intersection, and we've got everybody else that's coming up Bates Road. So I just feel like it would be a much better entrance right there on the outer road than on Bates. And everybody else that has built along the outer road has entrances. So I don't see why Dardine Prairie shouldn't get an entrance for this off of there. So if you could, see what you could do, and Matt, if we could do anything to facilitate that, I think that would be a much better idea than having that entrance there on Bates Road, where we're just going to be putting more people coming out there on Bates Road, and we can get them out on the outer road pretty clearly from, there's a pretty good distance from Bates, and I think that's been MoDOT's angst, is that they don't want too many entrances right there together, but you're far enough down where I see you've got your cul-de-sac, that if it would be possible to make that an entrance and just close it off at the other end, I think the subdivision would be better placed that way than going out on Bates.
Yeah, we're happy to reach out to MoDOT again, and I'll get with staff.
Yeah. Matt, can you talk to him about that? Thank you.
I do have one more question. And this is probably for the builder side. Are these intended to be owner occupied or rentals?
Owner occupied.
All I need. All righty, I think we're ready for the public comment.
Sherry Mitchell.
I am Sherry Mitchell, and I live at 804 Benefit Street. My question is water. I came from a house that was redone behind our house, and the city of St. Peters did it. And it ended up being so bad they had to go through 3 phases and take the ball field out of the elementary school behind our house. I do have pictures on my phone, but I didn't know that I could give those to you if you want to see. Mike has them. Several people have them here, but my first question is, who is responsible to take the level of the ground behind the houses that you're going to put all these houses on the ground behind there that are there right now? It is much higher. The dirt level is much higher than their homes. How are you going to bring that down? When St. Peters did that to us, it caused a problem. And they actually ended up making a great big reservoir as long as probably 5 homes, and had to take out the ball field for that purpose. They took our fence down. We were one of 5 houses. Ours, I think, was the worst on that side. And it was on Country Hill where we lived in St. Peters. And the yards, like our fence was taken partly out, and they had to redo this. They made a trough for the water just to go through our yards. And it still came off the hill because of the way St. Peters had allowed it to do that. They allowed the school to do it, and they admitted it later. The man that was at City Hall admitted it was their fault. Now, I don't want this for all I'm not on that street, but I went through this for so many years with water coming in my basement, and we had the time it was worst, I went down in my tennis shoes with socks, and it went above my sock in a tri-level. We had 7 big fans for 10 days trying to air things out. We lost everything in the basement eventually after almost everything, after all the times this happened to us. And so they tried, there were 3 phases they ended up doing. Ours was phase 1. The other 2 we were not involved in, so I really don't know anything about those. But I do have the name of the person you could talk to if you want to know, that worked at City Hall at the time. And I have been in Providence, probably had moved in this Christmas about 3 years ago. So if you have any, maybe they can help you if you have any questions with that. But who would be responsible if this water situation went into these homes? Because what happened to us was, would it be the builder? Who would it be? Because we got from our insurance company, it's an act of God. We don't have to do anything. Okay. So we lost lots and thousands of dollars worth of stuff down there. I don't want that for these people, even though I'm not on the street. I don't want to see that happen. I think it would be a problem for the value of our homes. And none of us want that for anything. So I'd like to know who's going to be responsible and how are you going to take that down, even if they're, because even with the rock walls, water pressure is so high. I mean, you cannot stop water. You have to just reroute it. What are you going to do to reroute it right? How's it going to work? Is it going to be safe for the families? I am very concerned about this in a very large way because I've been through this for many years.
Okay,
And I have
Thank you,
pictures to
Cheryl.
show you on my phone if you'd like to see them afterwards.
okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't tell, the only thing I can tell you is that our very capable city engineer will be reviewing these plans as they come in. And they will have multiple looks. And
Thank you
that's all we can go.
for being,
This is for the city. Matt is our city engineer.
I thank you very much, Matt, for that. But I do need to tell you that this was an engineer also. So I am,
Okay, your 3 minutes are up.
okay.
Skip Hulls.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to address the commission. My name is Skip Hulls. I live at 733 Thayer Court in Villas of Providence, and I am representing a number of the residents on Thayer Court. While we're not speaking opposed to the construction, the information that we just learned from Mike that at least where they were showing some consideration for our concern for privacy, the elevation that he addressed still doesn't sound good. So I wish that people would take that into consideration. Also, the offset would have to be greater than what it appears in order to address that. The number one issue that we have is water issue. And already he addressed that. There were some good questions about it. I just want to say that when things are dry, like they are now, then the creek, for the most part, is dry a good part of the way, certainly behind Thayer. And when things change, and especially when we have storms, we have a great deal of water force that comes into that creek right behind 701 and 703 Thayer, crosses Benefit, goes underneath the Villas Providence Pavilion, and back behind Promenade. It really has a hard time handling what it gets now. So if things were made worse, which sounds potentially like it could be, it would be bad. So our concern is the potential of water damage that was just addressed. And in addition, the integrity of the retaining wall that in some places is about 12 feet high. The sewer connection was addressed. We wish that there'd be some consideration for some optional connection. That was attempted about 3 years ago and refused by the HOA, again, because concern for water damage, also concern for damage during any construction and connection to that sewer. And that's where there are probably the greatest, most mature trees and vegetation. So that's of concern. Noise has not been talked about, even though we did address privacy. So I do want to just say that noise also would be a big issue, and certainly during construction. So we request that trees be left, and when trees aren't left, that trees be replanted or replaced. That also there be strong consideration for a berm all along that area, all the way from Benefit to the elementary school. Probably some additional vegetation, and we think a privacy fence, again, back considering the elevation of the new construction. So there's a number of things to address as far as noise. In terms of vegetation, we are asking for that which would be on a berm in order to help also noise, which we anticipate will increase because of 364. As far as Bates Street's improvement, what was just asked is exactly one of our primary concerns as far as traffic that's going to be on Bates. We know or we think and we suggest that Bates.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but his 3 minutes are over.
3 minutes are up.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Sorry.
Leon Heidel Tuvison.
Hi, my name is Heidel Tuvison. My husband Lee and I live that big acre across from what might be a retention basin. And we've been there for 30 years at 2132 Bates Road. So we have some definite concerns about how this could happen, although we are not at all opposed to an area that is much more visually appealing than it is right now, as we've lived by that for this long. There are some big concerns. I would say number one, I don't see any visual barriers or landscaping along the part that is adjacent to our property. The first house as you come in on the right, and then the whole retention basin. Some kind of visual barrier for our privacy and our backyard and our pool is one of the reasons that we moved there, and we would like for that to be maintained in some capacity. Secondly, back to the noise on 364, that is a concern when all those trees are going to come down. We're going to get more congestion, more noise there. So some kind of barriers, trees, whatever. God knows there's a ton of junky trees in that area that are going to have to come down and need to come down, but some things need to replace them. Number two, since we've been at that property, we have had the Villas Providence built behind us. We have also had the Highway 364, the outer road come through. And every time people have said, it's not going to be a problem with the water in the creek. You know, it's going to be fine. We've got it all under control. We're meeting all the guidelines. But the creek has tripled at a minimum in width over the years. And when we have a lot of rain, it overflows into our back of our property. So there has been significant change in water flow with the developments that have happened. So certainly this next development is of a great concern to us. Next, the sewer hookup you're talking about, I think they're talking about going under the creek to the hookup in the back of the villas. There's a concern there because of the impact on the creek bank and the stability when you're uprooting soil to put in a sewer line and cutting down trees. It's impacting the bank and the stability of that. So that's another concern there. Also then the retention basin, I mean, my son and daughter-in-law have a home right next to a retention basin, and there are tons of mosquitoes. They have to have bug spray once a month because of that issue. So I know you have to have a retention basin, but I'd like to see something in place for when that is there, when there's a lot of water there. I think that's it. Can you think of anything else? Please take our concerns into consideration.
That's it. Okay, commissioners, does anybody else have any other comments, questions? I would like to address one thing that you brought up about the visual screening along the north side of your property there where the detention basin is going to be. The plan here indicates that the natural vegetation is going to be left. Now, I don't know, I don't know what that natural vegetation is going to be or what it is consisting of. Okay, well, that's certainly something then that I'm sure they'll look at. But
If you could go back to the colored area. If I could speak,
yeah, go ahead.
Chairman. One more. If you look at the dark green, and I apologize that it's so small, but right where that cursor is, man, I think you're all along that where the detention basin is. we're leaving a 20-foot undisturbed area along there. So as to give that concern, we heard that original concern, and that's why we left that existing vegetation. Now, if there's some really bad materials in there, obviously, we'll be looking to have the city allow us to use some of that mitigation vegetation to remove some of the dead out of there and replace it with new vegetation. But our whole goal is to try and leave a non-disturbed buffer along that area. Again, we were concerned about the water issue there.
Right.
And
Most
that's
of
why-
it's honeysuckle anyway.
Yeah, but that basin actually is about half, almost half bigger than what it should be.
Okay.
And that, again, is to try and help mitigate the stormwater issues that we heard from staff and from the meetings that we had here at the city.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Now, we've asked staff, there's no more comments from the commissioners. So the next thing would be to close the public hearing. However, considering that we just received the elevations and the floor plans and really have not had time to study it. And I know that Mr. Musler has some concerns about the stormwater and grading. Would it be appropriate to continue this public hearing until next month so that we can get an updated grading plan and stormwater plan, and also have time to study these floor plans? What does everybody feel about that?
Don't they have to address? Well,
Sure. And address the
I
landscape
guess everything.
and see that.
Whatever is
Right.
hanging.
Anybody have any
I'm in favor
objections?
of that. I can, what I have in mind. Look at some layouts. Have some layers turned off and turn them back on. But, also. That's what we have with the consider privacy terms on that cell properties. Haven't really thought about that. That's the only reason. I kind of like the idea if developer would consider that. Absolutely. So.
Well, and I'm sure you could talk to Kathy about more tree removal. Yeah.
Certain points.
Oh, it's about probably a good 10 to 12 feet.
That's a long time. Bad idea.
Yeah,
Bad idea.
it's not a bad idea. All right, so should we have a motion then to continue the public hearing until the next meeting so that the applicant can address the issues?
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Northcutt. Need a second? Seconded by Ms. Lamb. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, this will be continued until the November meeting. And don't ask me when that is because I don't know my date, but it'll be at the next meeting. We'll reopen the hearing and hopefully we'll have any issues addressed, and then we'll take a vote on it then. It'll be the 12th of November. No,
No.
No, we're
I
not.
mean, you can make public comment, but
I'd
Well,
like-
what'll happen after the November meeting?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Let's assume that we're not saying we're going to approve it or disapprove it, but if it gets approved or disapproved, it goes to the Board of Aldermen then on the 19th of November. And then they will take a vote, supposedly, and then it'll be yay or nay.
I-
So that's when you'll know.
Yeah, because I live on
Huh?
there.
Oh, yeah, there'll be two readings. So there'll be a reading on the 19th and then the first week of December for the
So
final
if-
reading.
If it passes by the 1st of December, when would all this be starting? I mean.
You'll have to talk, well, the applicant's got to get all of his final plans ready. They have to be reviewed by the city. They got to pay all their fees. I would expect it'll be probably early spring. Maybe late winter, I don't know.
I know they may sound like crazy questions.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not a
I'm thinking
big
the second.
You know, we're interested in that. You
Right.
know, and right now, I know we've got all the prep trees. I'm very happy to see that it's residential and not commercial, to be honest. I mean, that's my feeling.
Okay. All righty. So this is done. And we'll move on to the next item. I need a motion to open the public hearing for the OTR Liquors CUP. Need a second, Mr. Musler? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I need the applicant for OTR Liquor.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Thank you, members. Appreciate the opportunity to answer any questions, comments, concerns that anybody has regarding the conditional use permit that we've submitted for On the Rocks Liquor Store.
So you don't have anything to
Oh,
tell us about?
yeah, I mean, so basically, I own a liquor store in St. Charles. It's a multi-tenant building. I purchased this building in July of 25. We have the Postal Plus. They've been there for like 10 plus years. We have the end cap that is open, and then the middle space, which used to be a spa place or something along that line. The goal is to convert both of those units, open up both of those units, and it would be a 3,600 square foot liquor store. No, sir. It'll be a packaged liquor store. So we will apply for a tasting license as far as samplings, but there would be no selling it by a pour or anything like that. Mhm. Exactly. Yep.
Besides alcoholic beverages, what are you going to sell in there?
So basically, all of our liquor stores currently, we have non-alcoholic drinks in there as well. Grocery items like chips, snacks, sodas, things along that line.
Tobacco products?
Yes, sir. We do have tobacco products. Everything is packaged, cigars, cigarettes, and chewing tobacco.
Kathy, anything from the staff report to mention?
So the site zone C3 retail commercial, which allows the alcoholic beverages, liquor, beer, wine, retail, and drive-through facilities such as restaurants, pharmacies, groceries, et cetera, is actually the conditional use. So it complies with all provisions of our zoning code.
All righty. Commissioners have anything else to add? Questions, comments? All right, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Chairman, were there any speakers, Kathy?
There were not.
Thank you.
Making sure.
Yep.
All right, I think it was moved by Mr. Musler. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Mollenkamp. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next item. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the September 10th meeting. Been moved by Dave, second by Mr. Musler. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, old business. Let's move to the multifamily moratorium. Kathy, did you have anything you wanted to discuss at this point? All right, you have 3 minutes.
Oh, you guys don't want to leave yet? We haven't voted on it. You just had the public hearing. Okay, the other guys left because we continued and there's not going to be any further action, but you still have to wait. Sorry. Um, Okay. So the city of Dardane Prairie has implemented a 1-year moratorium on new multifamily housing applications effective July 2nd. The purpose of the moratorium is to review and update standards to ensure any future development aligns with the city's vision, infrastructure capacity, and community expectations. One step in that process was the public hearing, which we had this evening. The goal of that public hearing was to get input specifically from our citizens and residents related to multifamily development in Dardane Prairie. In addition to that, the next step in the process for us is to try to solicit feedback from other stakeholders and impacted parties. So our public utilities, our schools, our police, et cetera. Included in your packet this evening was a draft survey. Step back a little bit from that. A draft survey that I put together to present something to the commission for consideration. The goal again was to try to solicit comments specifically and feedback that we could use when considering any zoning code changes to our code related to multifamily. So you haven't had it that long. If you want to, take the opportunity to either give me some comments now or provide me feedback. The goal would then be for us to develop a list to send these out to for each of the categories and try to get some input through a survey.
Is this to be discussed at the November meeting?
We can certainly discuss it and finalize it at the November meeting with the idea of then sending it out. I think the schedule was a little open in terms of,
It says November, December.
Yep.
So it could be December when we approach this again then with the results of the responses. Correct.
yes.
Mr. Musler, do you have some comments?
No. And yeah, that's why it's included as a draft. Thank you.
All right, any other comments? I think that if everybody has an opportunity after this meeting to review this and something comes to mind, I would suggest forwarding the comments or the questions to Kathy for her consideration on this. Because I suspect you want to send this out in the next week.
1st of November.
That's fine. All righty, the Stillwater is held until next month. So the next order of oh, okay. So we need a motion to table this item until it's next scheduled. And I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Last item on the agenda. New business, the OTR Liquors CUP to allow alcoholic beverages, retail and drive-through facility as a conditional use. Any further comments? Need a motion. And we can have a motion to approve, or we can have a motion that recommends denial.
Alcoholic beverages. Sale and drive-through, so.
Do I have a second? Been moved and seconded. Let's have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Pollard, absent. Commissioner Nexke, absent. Commissioner Northcutt. Commissioner Stankovich, absent. Commissioner Musler. Commissioner Lamb. Commissioner Wooldridge.
No.
Commissioner Molenkamp. 3 ayes, 2 nays. The motion carries.
Okay. So this item will go before the Board of Aldermen next week, correct? So it'll be next Wednesday, this 7 o'clock. And it'll be a public hearing, right?
Yes.
Public hearing,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, 7 o'clock. All right. Need a motion to adjourn. I move it to adjourn. We need a second. Seconded by Dave. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we're done.